Good morning, I'm James Gruber. Welcome to the morning report for Thursday the 16th of April. Well, publicly at least, there weren't many new developments out of the Middle East over the past 24 hours. The White House confirmed the US and Iran are in discussions about another round of in-person peace negotiations, but denied reports that the Trump administration had pushed to extend the current ceasefire, which is due to end in less than a week. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Pakistan would likely hold the next round of talks if they eventuated. Markets seem to have shifted their attention to corporate earnings overseas, and they're liking what they're seeing so far, more so in the US than Europe. As for the Aussie share market, the ASX 200 futures point to a steady open, with index futures flat. A reminder, yesterday the ASX 200 rose 0.1% to 8,978. Gold stocks jumped 3.8% to a month's high, with Northern Star Resources and Evolution Mining advancing 3% and 10% respectively. The technology sub-index gained 2.4%, tracking gains in US technology stocks. Among individual stocks, Virgin Australia jumped 7%, after maintaining its full-year profit guidance despite forecasting higher fuel costs. Moving to commodity markets, global oil prices were steady on Wednesday as ongoing Hormuz shipping constraints offset hopes for a peace deal. Brent crude futures settled up 0.1% to $94.93 a barrel. Base metal prices were mixed. Copper futures were flat at near 6-week highs. Meanwhile, aluminium futures rose 1.1% on continuing supply worries. Gold futures drifted lower on Wednesday after hitting a one-month peak as investors assessed the latest signals on the US-Iran situation and what they could mean for the interest rate outlook. The futures settled down 0.6% to $4,823 an ounce. Iron ore futures rose 0.3% to $106.75 a tonne on optimism that a peace deal may revive steel demand. Let's look at currencies. The Aussie dollar was last trading up 0.7% to 71.77 US cents. Let's go back a step to see how Wall Street and other world markets did. The Dow Jones index finished down 0.2%. The S&P 500 was 0.8% higher, and the Nasdaq added 1.6%. A closer look at the trading day there. Wall Street was mostly higher on Wednesday as attention turned to a fresh batch of corporate earnings, while investors took stock of the latest developments in the Middle East. Both the S&P 500 index and the Nasdaq reached record highs. 7 of the 11 S&P 500 sector indices posted losses, with materials leading the declines with a 1.3% drop. The technology sector rose 2% as a recent rally in software stocks continued. Meanwhile, the financial index gained 0.8%. Bank of America shares rose 1.6% after the second biggest US lender reported growth in its first quarter profit. Morgan Stanley climbed 4.3% after it also reported a jump in first quarter profit. So far this week, banks have said US consumers are financially healthy and that pipelines for initial public offerings and deals should remain robust unless the Middle East conflict drags on for much longer. Among other stock movers, Broadcom advanced 3.7% after Meta extended its custom chips deal with the firm. Snap rose nearly 7.5% after it said it would lay off about 1,000 employees, while Allbirds surged more than sixfold following its plan to pivot to AI infrastructure. US government bond yields edged up on Wednesday as investors remain cautious about developments in the Middle East, even as President Donald Trump said the conflict could end soon. The US 10-year Treasury yield was up 3 points to 4.28%, while the US 2-year Treasury yield was up 1 point to 3.77%. To the European markets, the continent-wide FTSE Euro First 300 index ended down 0.5%, and the UK FTSE 100 was also down 0.5%. Europe slipped on Wednesday as the evolving situation in the Middle East kept investors cautious, while they also assessed a range of corporate earnings. The technology sector slipped 0.3%. ASML fell 4.2%, weighing on the sector, even after the supplier of chip-making tools raised its 2026 revenue outlook. Hermès plunged 8.2% after the French luxury group reported a hit to first-quarter sales linked to the Iran war. Sales at Kering's Italian flagship brand Gucci dropped by 8% in the first quarter from the previous year. Shares of the luxury fashion group tumbled 9.2%. The luxury sector led losses with a 2.5% drop and is the worst performing sector so far this year. So let's take a look at what's on the watch list today. In Australia, unemployment figures are out with 4.2% tipped. There are ASX companies making dividend payments today, including Rio Tinto, Flight Centre and Hearts and Minds Investments. In the US, first quarter earnings season is in full swing. Today's results include Netflix, PepsiCo, Abbott Labs, Charles Schwab, Bank of New York Mellon, Marsh McLennan, US Bancorp, Travelers, KeyCorp and Prologis. And that's it for today. For further developments on the local trading session, please tune into the CommSec Market Update podcast this afternoon and, of course, the Market Close video. Have a great day.